any t-shirts I could sell, right? So I met one of the brothers who passed away, rest in power, Mark Anthony Brown, also known as Mad, the Mad Art Bandit. He was he was a piece, man. He was up there with Tats, and you know what I'm saying, like a true artist. You know what I mean? And he's the one that came up with Jiggy, Jiggy. It was all over the whole 5 boroughs. So I meet him by way of one of my frat brothers, Daryl. Shout out to Daryl. He was the financial advisor for Shabazz Brothers as well. But I met him through Daryl, and it was like, you like this? Matt was like, you like this? I was like, yeah, I can sell that. He was like, man, how many you can sell? So I said, give me like 3 dozen. He's like, yo, you sure I could give you 3 dozen? You gonna pay me? I came back later that night. I was like, give me 4 more dozen. Came back the following day. Yo, give me like 5 dozen, man. Whoa. Yeah, because the thing that I had established was, I wasn't scared to walk up on a dice game. That was number 1. Number 2, I wasn't scared to roll up on the block, right? I would go to the places where I knew our target market was, and they had $15, $20 in their pocket to just go ahead and buy that, because what I had matched with everything, and we'll get into the whole matching thing later. But to answer your question, it really became a drive for me when I got the first taste of selling something, right? Then I got the taste of selling something to a store, right? Without any guidance, without anybody telling me how to do it. I walked up in the Gertz Mall on the Ave. Nice. It was a dude in there named Theo. Shout out to Theo, because he still got a store in Flatbush. He still got a spot in Flatbush. So I woke up in there. All I did was take the shirt out and go. Theo was like, did the nod. He was like, how much? You know, I told him. I came close and told him, because I didn't want to disrespect his establishment by letting that price know to everybody in the place. Right. He respected that. And he was like, well, when could you get them to me? I said, I can get them to you this afternoon. How many you want? Just give me like 3 dozen, these colors. Once I opened that up, that opened up the eyes and the ears of Shabazz and Barrett. Because now they like, yo, hold up. Kyle, you opening accounts in stores with Jiggy? I was like, yeah. What's up? What you supposed to do?
And because of the street vendorship, because that most of the time you couldn't really go into the Coliseum and find some of the stuff that you could find on the side of the block. You really couldn't. And then if you went to Brooklyn, even if you went to Albee Square Mall, like, you would know that you couldn't find that particular style of Adidas unless you was on Jamaica Avenue.
This is what we changed.
Right.
That's what we attribute to Carl Kanai, okay? Because Carl Kanai came into the game and put pressure on these stores. You understand what I'm saying? He put pressure on these stores because he had people like Tupac wearing it. He had people like Biggie wearing it. And what it did was it opened the eyes to these store owners like, yo, hold up. Yeah, Guess does well for me. Yeah, Polo does well for me. But I think I'm going to try this Carl Kanai thing. And that's what opened up the floodgates.
Because even if you go back, Kyle, if you go back to the days of, like, let's say, for instance, let's go back to like even earlier 80s or mid 80s, early 90s to like individuals like Cool C.
Okay.
Right. His first video that he ever had come out, he was driving a Jaguar. And nobody knew that the fact that he had a Jaguar in his video was actually a marketing tool to expand his his audience to a different trajectory. Years later, come to find out, Cool C had signed a lucrative deal with Jaguar. And as you go further along, we were just kids from Queens that wanted a pair of Adidas, the shell toes, the nice white front.
That's right.
That we didn't have to worry about nobody stepping on.
That's right.
And we saw Run and take Adidas to a whole nother level. So, like, when you became that representative for Shabazz and seeing you in New York City running around at all the walkathons.
Yeah, we was at all of that.
All the walkathons.
Jones Beach.
Over at Jones Beach. seen you outside in front of the Fever
Video shoots.
with Ralph McDaniels, and how did you believe? Like, what made you believe that, you know what, everything else that I'm doing in life, I'm getting ready to do this. What,
So
after was it after the first sale, or was
that's
it
crazy? So all right, so I got put on. I'm in the office now, and there's a brother that worked there. He was basically, if I can use the analogy of a bicycle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you had Shabazz and Barry. I would say that they was the sprocket. You had Daryl, who was basically the chain. He handled the money. And then you had Hassan Bakar. Hassan was basically the engine that made everything pop, right? So I bring him up because when I came aboard, I'm watching him, right? Hassan must have styled everything that you could possibly think of that had Shabazz Brothers in it. From He's Got Game with Ray Allen wearing the overalls to television, because he was working with June Ambrose. I know you know the name June Ambrose. Television, to the Wu wearing it when they did the ad. I mean, you name it, he was product placing it. I learned basically from him how not to take too much, stay within the budget, and put it on important people. So back to that question of when did it change? That's when it changed, because now I'm learning different aspects of this business.
Product placement.
Yeah. Because when I came in, it was marketing first for whatever reason, right? I was just running around with him, learning everything, and then after a while, I started to gradually get into sales. You know what I'm saying? But my other marketing experience, and this is what pretty much sealed it. When I heard Chris Pringle, rest in power, Chris Pringle, yo. For those who don't know, Chris Pringle's a legend, both in the music industry and the fashion industry. Just for those who don't know. But when I heard him on the phone talking to the representatives of Coca-Cola about this Sprite deal, because we had the only Sprite deal, or I should say soft drink deal for all black urban company, right? Ever at that time, right? When I heard him talking to them, I was like, yo, hold up, man. I did not know you could be aggressive like that. I didn't know.
Well, because that Sprite deal was official. That was matter of fact, what came out of that? There was a commercial that came out of that.
Common did one.
Common did one.
Because keep in mind, the only one prior, I think, to that was Tyrese.
Right, that's it. That was
and
it.
then they started dealing with more urban.
Artists.
Yeah. So again, floodgates were starting to open once again.
Right, because at that time, only thing you heard was you had the St. Ives commercial.
Right. That's right.
Stuff like that. We weren't really able to
tap into the moment.
Tap into the moment, right.
That's
and
right.
become those product placement individuals, because we really didn't realize it. We was just, styling with the water, or wearing that jacket, or wearing that hat, not knowing the validity of
that's right.
What it was going to entail years later. Because like even now, that same 8-ball jacket
is back
that they're wearing, that I got in my closet, that I said I will probably never ever wear ever again. Now I gotta put it in the cleaners.
It's gonna be worth something.
I gotta put it in the cleaners.
Yeah.
That FUBU jacket, that red and black FUBU jacket, that's an authentic FUBU jacket with the stamp on the back of it. If Damon John signed it right now, it'd be worth
millions.
But
maybe not millions, thousands.
But we didn't think of it. We didn't think that we, as a culture, would put that much emphasis on what we wore, because, like I said again, it was the music. It was so much the music. But I always, this is my biggest joke, Kyle. I always tell people, I always say, I never have to worry about what I'm going to play. I always have to worry about what I'm going to wear as a DJ. That's the hardest thing that I can figure out. Because unless you have like a uniform, like now we kind of got it like narrowed down a little bit, right? We got our black jacket. That's what we rock. We wear our black jacket. But in addition to that, just fashion alone, you still want to be fashionable. You don't want to be just a regular DJ just putting on a hoodie and that's it.
And like hip hop and fashion does go hand in hand.
Yes,
it's part of the culture.
Hip hop has its own aesthetic. It has a look. It has it has accessories. It has
absolutely.
You know how hip hop looks.
Right. And even then, with every culture, in so many ways, every culture kind of know, they may be from from the Gaza.
Yeah, you
Nah.
can look at an outfit and tell.
Right.
Right,
Even even like certain ways that you wore your. I mean, unfortunately, it came to a different aesthetic. But
Mhm.
back in the days, it's a certain way you wore your hat.
That's right.
You know that when you wore your
Mhm.
Stetson hat to the left, they knew you was from farmers.
Mhm.
Or if you wore it to the right, they knew you was from. It was just certain aesthetics that came with the fashion. Now, going up into the bigger days,
Mhm.
when now inside of every store, there's maybe possibly a Carl Kanai, maybe possibly a Cross Colors, maybe possibly a Shabazz Brothers, maybe possibly Woolwear, and now Sean John.
I'm gonna run the list. I'm gonna run the list for you.
Right, go ahead.
I'm gonna run the list for you. So, in the height of the urban wear movement, as we called it, you had us, Shabazz Brothers, Fubu, Mecca, Aniche, RP55, PNB, Walker Wear, Willie Esco, Pelly Pelly. I mean, there's probably some that I'm missing, but I'm giving you the core.
The core. Yes.
So and then after Pure Players, then that transitioned into 1020 Blue. Shout out to Danny Shaw.
Mark Echo.
Yeah, Mark Echo. Nappy, and I might be missing maybe one or two. But those were the bulk of the list.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And now all of these items now are being shipped into stores.
Yeah, so the way it worked is crazy, right? Because it's not as much like that now as it used to be. But the buyers would either come to the showroom to see and purchase, or we'd go to them, or they'd meet us at one of the trade shows, right? So you had the Mid-Atlantic Garment Industry Convention, which is short Magic, or the Magic Show, right? Then you had the Atlanta Mart, right? Then you had one, I believe that was in Michigan. Then you had one in Texas. That was Gino Green in them back before he did that 666 thing. I don't remember what it was called. Gino Green. Shout out Gino Green, man.
Right.
But he had one down in Texas. And then there was one, of course, in California. So out of all of those, either we meet you there or you come to us. That's how it used to be. Then it transferred into once you got the relationship, they just call.
Right.
I know you're making this. Let me get those. Let me get that. Right. Now, obviously, it's all online.
I was about to say that.
Right.
Yeah.
We weren't in the mix when it was transitioning to that. I think we probably ended just before that became a thing. Right. But yeah, it was much more personable. I remember early magic shows. I was just telling T about how the guys from Japan would come with big bags of money to purchase, straight up purchase.
Wow.
You understand what I'm saying? Like that's unheard of.
And
now.
that's funny because then if you go being a military brat and you go to Japan, you go to Okinawa, and you in the middle of the city and you see hip hop.
Oh yeah.
You see hip hop.
Oh yeah.
In the middle of Japan, like what the hell?
Oh man.
How did this get all the way over here?
Man,
You know
I've never been there, but I'll say this: from handling at least 5 accounts there, they flooded, man.
Yeah, for sure.
They flooded because like all of the companies that I named, so like we would all match each other with each other. So if your presentation didn't have us, who I mentioned, then you weren't at the level of where we are.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So we was kind of carrying it like how Tommy and Polo and them were carrying it, right? Where, all right, I want a whole wall in Macy's. I don't want just a couple of racks, right? We would be the same way. If you're not giving us a wall, then we're going to go to the guy down the block. And we were able to do that.
Crazy. So now in the 2023 George Jetson years, now you can actually go online.
Oh yeah.
You can actually go online and purchase some of this memorabilia from the 80s and the 90s.
Oh yeah.
Like stuff that you wouldn't normally, like I said, that 8-ball jacket that's in my closet, now you can actually go online. How do you feel about that aspect of it now? Being able to put your own visions and your own perspective of sales and marketing into a time capsule now that it would exist now for years to come.
It's almost like you can't avoid that now. You know, I mean, even with some of the projects I'm involved in, I mean, there has to be Instagram, there has to be
Yeah,
a
you have to have an
Facebook.
online presence.
Yeah, but without it, it's virtually impossible.
Yeah.
And I've been able to survive in the fashion industry for about a good 12 years without doing any of that. And that was only because I was on the product development side, right? I was with those who were actually creating the garments that were being made for people who were using it for fashion,
Right.
right? So there's so many different facets of the apparel industry that, you know, you would not believe that it's not just limited to getting a product, selling
Quick
a product.
sidebar, because we're in the Poconos, right?
Mhm.
And we have the premier outlets at the Tannersville.
Mhm.
And every time I go there, there's nothing good ever in the store.
Right,
There's a
And I
reason
be
for
telling
that.
people, you can't shop here because the buyers are not picking for
right. For
us.
right,
Okay, they're
right.
picking for the demographic that's most common here.
Mhm.
So that's why it's so hard to shop in the Poconos. So like the apparel industry is huge. And if you're in the background, then you don't know where to shop, what you're looking for, how to get what you need. So yeah, it's big business.
About the outlets, right? So
Mhm.
what happens is, and that's probably why some of them left, and I'm gonna tell you why.
Yeah.
So let's just take, and I'm not shouting them out. I'm just using them as an example. And they're no longer there. So I think it's Kenneth Cole was once there, right? And the thing about it is, you can't sell what you're selling on Fifth Avenue
Exactly.
here, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
you're gonna go into production on the stuff that you're already making, right? So you're gonna show this, and you're gonna show this, and you're gonna show this. If you show this, and you're like, yo, this is $60 wholesale,
Mhm.
right? And they come packed in 4, right? And you sell this, and this is $20, right? Who you think the outlet's gonna buy?
Yeah.
Of course.
And that's just what everybody that's up there, that's
Right.
what they're faced with.
Yeah.
Because they know that they get an item that's out of their price point, it's going to sit.
Mhm.
That's simple.
But yeah.
Because and if you think about it, like now going back, let's take it all the way back to designs. Me being in a household with 4 sisters, grandma, grandpa, everybody, the girls went for the sewing machines, right? They went straight to the sewing machine. They learned how to cut out the patterns. They learned how to thread a needle and all of that. Now, at first, it was, I ain't threading no needle. I don't know nothing about that. But then when I got into clothes and I got into fashion, boom, they go to light bulb.
That's right.
Wait a minute. So you mean to tell me I can actually cut this pattern out and make these pants?
Yep.
Man, listen.
You went crazy.
Let me tell you something. After that, it was a life experience that happened. We'll tap on that later, but that's what infused it better because you had to do it. You had to go inside the factory and sew 1,500 mail bags.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
You had to know what an epaulet was, what a collar stand was, what what a pocket stand was. You had to learn those things. And you had to be able to cut them out properly with using the right utensils that they didn't even want to give you because of the environment that you was in.
That's right.
And you would mean our normal tally for a day per table was 7,500 plies.
Nice.
7,500 plies per day.
Mm-hmm.
And if we did a second shift or we did an overtime shift, we would exceed that even more.
What material was you using?
We was using chambray material, and we was using Air Force material.
Okay.
So
Heavy
the chambray, of course, the chambray material is more thicker
Mm-hmm.
and it's a little bit more denser. But with the Air Force regular
Heavy cotton.
materials, heavy cotton, right? So learning how to do all of that, I'm like, well, what's next? So
Right.
that's where I'm wound up meeting Kyle. So we just kicking it. We
Right,
talking. We
right.
at the event at Social Vibes
Mhm.
for the hip hop event sponsored by Gynesis Radio.
No doubt.
By Gynesis.
Right.
And we just sitting outside, we just talking about fashion, just fashion in general. And it's funny because one of the most important parts for us was the music.
Mm-hmm.
But it's crazy to see how now everything else is now becoming such an intricate part of culture and society that hip hop is now even more popular now,
Yeah.
fashion wise, even down to the food. Like Amy could post a sandwich on her Instagram today and make it look delicious.
Right.
And next thing you know, everybody's going to buy that sandwich that amazing Amy showed them. But it came from that same continuity and that same hustle that we had back in the 80s and the 90s. That same hustle. All you did was you just put it into a bottle and you made it more simplistic.
Yeah.
Because even going to the point where like I was talking to we just lost God bless him, people, you had your difference of opinion, but Mr. Burt Bedell, we just lost Mr. Burt. And people had their feelings about Burt, but he never treated me wrong. I mean, I always got my check when I was supposed to go get my check, but he neither here nor there. But even him being an intricate part of the culture, a lot of people didn't know who the hell Burt was, but he was an intricate part of the culture.
There's a lot of unspokens like that.
And I'm glad to see that fashion, music, all these components that were considered parts of hip hop have now become main culture.
Yeah.
They become mainstream culture now. And it's almost to the point where you see the little white guy with the curly hair, Amy, check out my drip. He in the middle of nowhere, standing behind sticks and seeds, but he got on his drip. I mean, and people are following this and they're looking at clothes.
Right.
The impact of fashion for you, how now, and like I said, in the 2020s, 2025, 2026, what's your next idea of fashion?
Oh man. So
how you think it's gonna change?
Oh, we could go there too. So,
I heard them talking about this and I have something to say. So
so there's two parts to that question, two answers to that question. The first answer is I've been working on leathers and shearlings for like the past 15, 20 years. So I stayed in that lane because I like how that consumer has knowledge of the product. You understand what I'm saying? So like, in the past, it's always been like, what's your selling point for this, right? Most of my consumers that buy shearlings, leathers, they usually buy furs as well. So people who are consciously buying that, they already have a knowledge base of what it is. So that kind of limits how much I have to educate them on what it is. Not that I don't and I can't, because I do and I will. But at the end of the day, I like the lane of the higher end products. How is it going to change? We was just talking about that before you came in. So traditionally, our culture usually has a style reoccur every 30 years, right? As of late, it's been scattered like 50 years, right? You're going to start seeing, and I said this earlier, you're going to start seeing the return of the suit with the shoulder pads. That's coming back, okay? That 1940s baggy slim bottom.
I saw somebody in a striped suit the other day.
What, pinstripe?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's an old style, but it's
never
modernized.
So now let me just, and I'm not going to correct you. I'm not going to correct you. I'm going to give you information based off of what you just said. It's not so much that it's an old style, it's that there are certain items that are signature pieces. For men, it's a pinstripe suit, a gray suit, a tuxedo, a brown suit, and a black suit.
Okay.
Right.
Those are signature items that every man should have in their closet. If you're a little fly, going along with the tuxedo, right, you should have at least 2 fedoras, a long wool professional coat, a long beige raincoat, and if you got it like that, a fur or a shirtlet. So same would apply for women. The thing that never goes out of style for women is the professional dress, right? The 1-piece and the 2-piece with the top and the skirt, whether it be a small split or a high split, which really became popular in the 70s. That was like, oh, I want to show leg. You know what I'm saying?
They were rebelling back then.
There you go. But some of these items, they never go out of style.
Right.
They make reoccurrences. Right? The fur will never go out of style. You could rock a chinchilla today or in 1923 and it'll still look just as fly. Right? So it depends on the garment, but some garments will always be around. They may change certain or tweak certain things on the pattern, but it'll always be here. The hoodie always will be here.
Also, yeah, because you got more formidable styles and more styles that are coming out of other styles.
Of
That's the
course.
crazy
Right.
thing. That's
Yeah.
that's because you would wear like the zoot suit per se. The zoot suit, you would wear that jacket. This is 80, 89, 90, 91. You would wear that jacket with a nice Kwame
Right.
to the
right.
side with some polka dot.
But the zoot suit is the 40s going into the 50s.
Right, with the polka dot shirt on,
Yeah.
with some nice shoes, nice heel shoes, and
Mhm.
you be on your way to the club.
Oh yeah.
You be on your way to the club.
Oh,
That was
yeah.
the New Jack swing, like kind of gear back then, like that polka dot shirt, that nice jacket
With the high top
gold
fade.
chain with the high top fade.
One thing I heard you say earlier was the quality of goods.
Yeah, we
You're
can
gonna
talk
see
about
quality come back.
that.
Because my
Yeah.
generation is very much into fast fashion. It's Fashion
Yeah.
Nova, it's Shein,
Yeah.
it's cheap, quick items that don't last you more than a year, if that.
Yeah.
And I shop differently than that. Like he
Mhm.
said, I'm a big thrifter. I like to go to the Salvation Army and pick quality goods.
Right,
Polos,
right.
Ralph Lauren, Essence Express, like
Mhm.
Banana Republic, that type of stuff.
Right.
Because that's not gonna wear on me too quickly.
So a lot of that has to do with price points,
Mm.
right? The whole urban wear movement was driven by price points, right? We know that we got a population that's going to go to Jamaica Avenue, 3rd Avenue, J Street, Borough Hall, 145th Street, 125th Street, and going to buy this.
Right.
We just knew that. So because of that, we knew that that price point had to be in a certain range.
Yeah.
What does that say for the garment? That says that the garment can't be at a higher level, right? So to simplify, you have a company called Laura Piana. Ever heard of Laura Piana?
No, I haven't.
Okay, shout out Laura Piana. Laura Piana makes some of the most expensive and exquisite suits in the world. Okay, it's the material that they use. It's almost like a Martha Stewart 3,000 thread count as opposed to a Macy's 200 thread count. There's a difference in how that feels.
Big difference.
You follow? So, and then that ties back into some of the things I'm doing. So there's a difference between a Toscana Shearling and a regular sheepdog from back in the days, like a 1980s joint, right? One costs upwards of $3,500, while the other may cost about $200. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But they're both sheepdogs, and they'll probably keep you just as warm.
Right.
Just one more is more expensive.
Right.
Rolls Royce, Toyota Camry, they're both gonna get you there.
Yeah.
So, just to summarize, the lower price point, right, is designed to, like you said, fast fashion. Is to keep those people keep buying.
Mhm.
I want you to buy another leather coat next year.
Yes. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As opposed to buying one that's going to last you for about a good
Right.
10 years.
Mhm.
So that's the drive behind that.
Because even with the popularity of the thrift shop coming in like the 2000s, 2001, 2002, right?
Back in like 2010, 2012,
Right,
when everybody
right.
was into hipster fashion.
Right,
so now
right.
you're wearing the big glasses and the
Right,
hats and the
right.
big sweaters and stuff again.
And the irony of that people were actually going to the thrift stores to pick up the stuff that we left in the stores that
Right.
we didn't want no more, and now it's
Yeah.
now fashionable. Now the thrift stores is like, wait a minute, hold on, man, we need to check what we're doing. We need
That's
to
right.
go through the shelves and make sure we ain't giving that, because clothes can be recycled as well. I mean,
Yeah.
I used to have a job like that, right? So in the fashion industry, they have this person called a jobber. A jobber is somebody that takes all of your goods that you couldn't sell, takes it and sends it to somebody else. So for example, if a FUBU had overstock, I call and be like, yo, let me get that. They were selling it for $12. Let me get that for $7. I'll clear the whole thing out. Right? So people like what I used to do would take these garments and send them to places like that, or send them overseas,
Mhm.
or send them to whoever want them. That's how come you would find FUBU on militants in the Congo.
Right.
You
right,
did?
Right. Or
That
what
makes
was
so
that
much
movie?
sense.
Wait, what was that movie? It was some movie that I was watching.
And you've seen a kid wearing FUBU.
You seen the wedding.
Yeah.
Shoot, I think it probably was a Jamaican video or something like that.
Yo,
It was all the way down Wyman
That's
Street. And they had
how
on the FUBU.
they
Yeah.
wind up overseas because they'll have too much. In fact, I saved somebody's stuff once doing this job. The ladies of Delta Sigma Theta, right? I found like 40 dozen of their stuff about to just ship to any country random. right? Because of the people that I dealt with, right? You got the people who ship to people like vendors. Then you got people who ship to their cousins down south or whatever. Then you got people that are shipped to another country, and then you got people that are shipped to another country and don't care where it goes. You see what I'm saying? Their stuff was going to do that.
Wow.
So I caught it and sent it someplace else. But there's not enough people that do that.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I want to do. We can probably do a part 2 because I want to get into.
Yeah, this is a big deep dive. Like
Yeah.
this is something you have to like the intersection of apparel and music is something you gotta really dive into.
Because I want to see. As we go, the part 2. I want to see, and I want to talk to Cal about how the music affected the fashion. Because we talked about how the fashion affected the music. Now I want to talk about how the music affected the fashion.
Can I?
Yes.
I can hit that real quick before we dip out. So if you could recall, right, because this is where the transition was starting to take place, right? Knapsack on my back, that's just my flavor, Ock. Who was that?
That would have been
you know who
that
that
would
is.
have been
Knapsack on my back, that's just my flavor, Ock.
Grand Poobah.
There you go.
Yes.
What was Grand Poobah rocking? He was rocking Tommy.
Yeah, always Tommy.
Right?
Yes.
Now, understand something. When he was doing that, he wasn't getting
money. Right.
But what happened was there was a bright light in the industry. They were like, well, wait a minute. You guys will wear this in your videos?
Yes, right.
Well, wait a minute. Because prior to Grand Poobah saying that, right, you had Cross Colors making little debuts in videos. Right? Nothing big. In fact, Big Les might have had on Cross Colors once. And that gave a big view because everybody liked Big Les.
Everybody loved Big Les.
Right. So the transition was late 80s, going into the 90s, when MCs started to mention what I'm rocking. Right? What was my man G-Rap's line? I rock polos and Jimbos. Right. Well, and Biggie's line, Jimbos, polos. Right. So once you started hearing it, the light bulb was off. They're like, okay, we need a budget for this. And then we started doing it. Because once we did Cheeks and them, Lost Boys, shout out Lost Boys. Once we put them in them leathers in the sauce, and it hadn't been done, only leathers you seen in the sauce was Pele.
Right, absolutely.
There was nobody else doing leathers up until when we put the leathers in there. Once that happened, okay, now the industry's on alert. You see what I'm saying? Not just the fashion industry, the music industry, because now they're like, yo, hold up. We could get some gear, put it on our artists, and make them look good in whatever. So that merger was around that time.
Nice. That's a good way to close it out too, because now you see how, just that mention, that honorable mention, who else always talked about their clothes? We go back. Let's
Shan talked about his clothes.
Yeah, let's take it all the way back.
And the music videos, like whatever they were in the music videos, what was gonna blow up?
Let's take it even further back. We can even go back to the Sugar Hill Gang.
Could.
Take it back to them. How they talked about what type of clothes they wore, what type of cars they drove.
Yep.
Just hip hop, just in itself, man.
Yeah.
50 years of hip hop.
Yeah.
Hip hop is the original
Sugar Hill Gang
influencer.
talked about a cab stand.
Oh, what?
A cab stand.
And a hotel and a motel.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
OJ's was a cab stand.
That's right.
OJ's was a cab stand.
But like
Yes, sir.
Grandmaster
Food
Cass
too,
said.
you can't forget about food either.
Oh no, food is part of it.
You
But
know,
Grandmaster Cass put it best, man. He said, man, Run DMC and them messed up the game for us, man. They came in with blazers, fedoras, and Adidas. Threw it all off because they was wearing cowboy and
yes,
Indian
Yep,
style
yep,
leathers with fur. Yeah, man.
Yep.
That shifted right after running it.
Because then you saw the sweatsuits and you saw the. Yep.
I think the thing about fashion and hip hop is that there's so many different levels of what type of fashion you can have, because I feel like all Black artists have their own aesthetic, right? And I feel like the listeners, the regular audience, people that are reluctant to really lean into their fashion choices because of what's socially acceptable.
Right.
So with fashion, that's supposed to be a free, expressive
It should
platform for you to wear whatever you want,
be.
show yourself however you want,
Exactly.
but it's not always accepted in the arena that you're in.
Right.
So that's kind of the beauty of fashion is you can do whatever you want. Like
You
And
should be
that's the
able
whole
to.
point.
And structural wise, like you said, yeah, that's true. You should be able to do what you want. But structurally wise, coming into hip hop, whatever we did sometimes wasn't so acceptable
Right.
to that degree, or our culture, or Black people, period, wasn't a part of acceptable society
Right.
at those times. But we made an acceptable society
That's the key
to the
right
point
there.
to the point where like
Yeah.
now y'all are wearing what we tell y'all to wear. Like
Right.
y'all are wearing what we tell y'all to
Because
wear.
we were rejected at
Mhm.
first.
Even with the Dapper Dan suits, like
Yeah.
nobody wanted to wear no cut off piece of Gucci. You done
And now he's a thing.
you done took 17 Gucci bags
right.
Yeah.
And
and
made it
sliced them up.
and it's fire
you know,
though.
and
But wait,
just-
what's so crazy about that is they're actually sending him material now.
Oh wow.
Yes, they are.
So that goes back to your point. Like,
After shutting them down.
yeah,
Right.
let's keep that a buck.
After trying to shut him down.
No,
but
no, they shut him
Oh,
down.
did they?
Let's
Yeah,
keep
they
it a
shut
buck
down,
because
shut down.
that right there is a very interesting story. Because Barry, shout out to Barry, used to work for Dapper Dan before he came when we was all together. But understand that for a second, okay? They are actually sending him material to do that now. When before he created a lane.
That's crazy.
He created a lane of just all of that stuff cut in patterns. Come on, man. That was like 85, 86, man.
And you remember you can only shop there after
After
hours.
dark,
Right.
you couldn't go there. You
After
couldn't-
midnight.
yeah, you
That's
couldn't go
right.
there
After
just
midnight.
anytime. You had
Yep.
to go there
After
when
midnight.
you had
By
to go there when the
appointment.
Wolves was there.
By appointment.
And the Wolves was there. You had to
Yeah.
go when the
Wow.
And you had to
Wolves
know who you had to know
Yeah.
somebody.
For
up there.
clothes?
Yep,
That's right.
just for,
You-
just for
wow.
that suit.
You had to go there at 2:00 in the morning.
Yep.
Yeah,
And you had to go to get fitted because you couldn't just send them.
that's
Can't-
right.
Like the Big Daddy Kanes or the Mike Tysons and all of them, you had to go to
Yeah, you
get
had to get
fitted.
fitted.
Yeah.
So if you had a little bit of it, like, all right, we wasn't. Oh, we had some money. We had some money. You know what I mean? We had some money.
Oh, you definitely had to have $2 above lunch money.
Yes.
Yeah, you did.
So
Yeah,
when
you
you
did.
went out there, you knew what you was getting, but you had to get fitted. So in the process you getting fitted, okay, you getting fitted. That might do your jacket today. You might not get your jacket for a month later
Mhm.
because he's so backed up.
Yeah.
Right.
But when you come get your joint, you got your joint is
Good.
Oh, yeah.
But you know what?
Yeah.
You know who really turned him out, put him on the map, as far as I'm concerned, what I remember was Eric B. and Rakim.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
Yeah,
think
they were
I
popular.
think when they started rocking his stuff,
Yeah.
That's
It
when
seemed like
it-
everybody
I'm gonna
Everything
take it a
started
step
buying it.
further, T. I'm gonna take it a step further.
It seemed like
So
everybody started buying it.
on the commercial level, because that album was so successful, and all of the people that he had on the album was basically rocking Dap stuff. But prior to that Alpo Rich Porter
Mhm.
for the hood,
Yeah.
it killed it.
Yep.
That killed it.
Yep.
Because Poe had on a Louis Vuitton bomber,
that's right.
a Parker. It was a Parker, 3/4
Mm,
with goose feathers in it.
And if, after you came from the club
definitely.
and you went by Willie Burgers,
Oh, he was out there.
everybody out there
Yeah,
had on Dapper Dan.
yeah,
That's it.
yeah.
And then now, you being from New York, and you decide, oh, I'm gonna move to DC for a little while. I'm gonna go down here for a little while. You know, get some go-go music in me. They got the cars with the Gucci rag tops.
Yep.
They got the interior
Yeah.
with the Gucci, like fashion, hip hop, music, our culture, 50 years. Incredible, man. It's just
But
so much
one
more.
thing for certain, two things for sure. Ghetto folk is gonna find a way to shine.
Absolutely.
Listen,
That's right.
one of my favorite lines
Absolutely.
from one of a show I watched, the guy said, the way to get something to pop is to get Black people to like it, get the other people to like it, and then get Black people to unlike it. But that's not necessarily how the pattern
Maybe
works.
not in
But
that order.
the point is, we set the trend. If we
Yeah,
start
absolutely.
catching on to something first,
Yeah.
everyone else is going to catch on to it like, oh, that's cool, that's why, that's
Oh
why.
yeah.
Now they want a piece.
Case in point, most recent fashion shift that we forced on corporate America. Y'all ready?
Mm-hmm.
Sneakers with suits.
Oh,
Yeah,
period.
definitely.
That used to be shunned on.
Yeah,
Period.
You would get kicked out of the
You're
office for
super
that.
stupid walking in the
Come
on, man.
office meeting.
But
and
now-
you got on sneakers and now.
But see, peep this. Back in the day, we used to rock Jordans
Mm-hmm.
with our stuff, and if we had to wear a suit that day, we keep
That's
the
what it
Jordans
was.
on,
Yeah.
right? But because we was basically matching our colors with Jordan, you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So we would rock that, and all of a sudden it became a thing. We was like, well, hold up, we was doing that
Right.
in the
Now they
90s
cutting the Jordans so they fit
for the suit.
straight pants.
That's right.
Now the Jordans actually fit
That's
straight
right.
pants.
That's crazy.
These are actual dress pants. They're not
Right.
jeans. They're
See?
actual dress pants, and they fit directly with the cut of the Jordans. That
Why do you think they did that?
so you can wear it with a suit.
There you
So you
go.
can wear it with a suit.
There you go.
Again, want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight to UTSL
Yes.
Network.
For our last official show.
Yes, our last official show
Of the year,
2023.
yeah.
2023. We got to make sure we clarify.
Don't
that.
be alarmed. We're coming back.
Yes, indeed. We are coming back. We will be back for our next season in 2024. I want to say thank you to all of our sponsors, everybody, Eugene, everybody that sponsored the show for this entire year. I want to thank my connect, my right hand. Without my right hand,
My
Amazing
pleasure.
Amy, thank you so much for always holding me down. TP, thank you also, my brother, for always holding us down here. You know, he could just set the tone and just walk out the door, but he'd be sitting in here and he
And we
gives his
love him for
input,
that.
right? And he gives his input on the show. He's always tapped in. You know, he always has been an intricate part of the show and making it
Absolutely.
detailed. You know, making sure things pop off. You always got an opinion too.
Yeah.
You know, when we
love
brought
that.
them gang members and them stuff.
That's right.
We got to sprinkle a little
We can't forget
little
that show.
controvery in
Right, we
here.
can't forget that show, right? That was
Yeah,
one
yeah,
of our great
right.
shows. We also had we did have another great show when we had I think who did we have here? We had Meister Prince here when he did the freestyle here when the first time the Shaq and Kobe song came out, and he just did a freestyle here. Like just so many as Kalia would say, and I'll have to use her word, Kalia. Yes, I'm using your word, Mamante, because it's been bigger than the moment to be on this platform, Gynesis Radio, for a whole entire year.
Yeah.
I feel good. I'm thankful for the lessons and the blessings, and I look forward to a strong 2024 for
Amen.
UTSL Network. And a party, man. I think we need to
It's
have a
gonna be lit.
Genesis
We only
Radio
going up.
party.
We gotta do that.
We gotta have a Genesis Radio party the first part of the year and get ready because we ain't gonna be able to look back. It's gonna be packed bags and flights. No feelings this year. I'm telling
Yo,
you.
last shout out to
Right.
everybody,
Yes.
man, from the brothers, man. Shout out Shabazz, Barry,
Yes.
Hassan, Kayshawn,
Yes.
Mike. Shout out to Dave. Major shout out, rest in power, Chris Pringle, rest in power, Mark, Anthony Brown. Just want to give the shout out, Trina. You know what I'm saying? Everybody that was part of the family, man. Everybody shout out, man, because we got a lot to celebrate, man. 30
Yes, sir.
years.
Yes, sir. That's right. That's right. And Amy, you want to shout anybody out?
I mean, as usual, I just want to give all glory to God. That's my only shout out. Without him, I couldn't do nothing. So it's been a great year, and I'm just excited for the next one.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And we will catch y'all again on the other side of 2024. Happy New Year to you. Wish you a great 2024. Also, happy Kwanzaa to you today. If you celebrate Kwanzaa, happy Kwanzaa to you too. Don't want to get that out. Don't want to forget that. And we'll see y'all next Thursday.
Next week, we coming right back.
2024.
Enjoy your New Year's. Be safe. Have
That's right.
fun.
Yes.
Turn up with your family, with your
That's right.
people.
That's right. More guests,
Yeah.
more interviews, more music, and more entertainment to come. We'll see
And
y'all
more
again.
community.
Yes, and more community.
We'll
Yes,
see y'all
we
next
are
year.
stronger together. That's right. That's right.
No
Yes,
doubt.
sir.